Robert Jackson Bob Barben was born on June 21, 1920 in Huntington, Pennsylvania, to John K. Barben and Sarah Simpson Barben. Bob grew up helping out on the family farm and attended Smith Elementary and Huntington High School, where he graduated in 1933. From there, he attended Juanita College, graduating in 1941 with a BS degree in marketing and economics. While there, he was co-editor of the college yearbook, a member of the Student Senate as chairman of athletics, the Varsity J Club, played basketball, and served as captain of the tennis team. When World War II broke out, he enlisted as an Army Corps cadet and was part of the first American flight training class in Lakeland, Florida. At one point during his training, he was headed to St. Louis, Missouri, when the plane he was on crashed, killing the crew member sitting next to him. In the fall of 1943, Bob was sent to Avon Park, Florida, where he was a training instructor on the B-17 bomber. It was here, on a blind date, he met his future wife, Jane Hart. Jane's father, Earl, was a Highlands County citrus grower and cattle rancher. After the war ended, they married and moved to Pennsylvania, where Bob attended Dickinson School of Law. He finished the 3-year course in 2 years and received his degree in 1949. Soon afterwards, he purchased 25% of his father and grandfather's business, where he had worked while in law school. However, in 1950, repeated pleas from Jane's father for help on his ranch brought Jane and Bob back to Avon Park. He could have gone to work as a lawyer for $9,000 a year, but instead went to work for his father-in-law for $3,000 a year. So Bob set out about learning how to grow citrus. His father-in-law also had a law degree and had served on the Florida Citrus Commission in the late 1930s. He introduced Bob to the industry and helped him learn the business through research and education, which became a passion Bob has continued to support throughout his life. He spent the early days attending all of the lectures, classes, and meetings IFAS offered and got to know the researchers and extension agents well. It was a small step from there to join the local extension service committees and help promote the research education to area growers.
There was an advisory committee. Bob was on the advisory committee. 32 years later, he was still on my advisory committee, the only person who went to full time. But that's because Bob made an investment in it, to the whole process. And so that was meaningful.
He planted his first grove in 1950, and it wasn't long before he had his children involved. It was his motto that, if you can't do it yourself, you can't tell someone else to do it. So he encouraged the boys to learn the business from the ground up. His comment to one son who objected to his methods was, "I had a doctorate when I started here, and the hoe fit my hand just fine."
I think at 6 I was driving the water truck.
Yeah, John was driving the water truck real early, yeah. And watering young trees, and he'd pay me 10 cents a row. He'd always do math problems. He said, "Okay, I'll pay you, a dime an hour or a nickel a row or something like that." And you'd run because you thought you were going to do all the rows, and all realize how tired you were, how quick, and then you realized that dime an hour might have been a lot better deal.
Yeah.
Eventually, Bob ran the entire citrus business while Earl handled the ranch. But even while running the business, he found time to serve on numerous committees and give back to the community, while at the same time putting all 7 of his children through college at the University of Florida.
From the time he had one person in college, one kid in college, he always had one in college. Sometimes he had 2, and a lot of times he had 3 people in college. And it makes you look back and say, we didn't have, boats and motorcycles and all this other stuff that some of our friends had, but he paid for our college. And we sit there and we look back and said, how did he do that?
Today, sons Bobby, John, and Billy run the family business, Barben Fruit Company, and its subsidiaries, as well as volunteer in the industry. Bobby chairs the Citrus Research and Development Foundation, and John is on the board of Florida Citrus Mutual. Bob was a founding member and chairman of the Florida Agricultural Tax Council, which helped to unify agriculture's efforts within the legislature. As part of that effort, he worked on the Greenbelt Law, traveling to Tallahassee frequently to lobby the legislators on the industry's behalf. He also helped found the Highlands County Citrus Growers Association and did a lot of work regarding tax valuations and how citrus acreage should be taxed.
Bob Barben was one of the original members of the Highlands County Citrus Growers Association Executive Board when the organization first began in 1990, and I was the first executive director. And I remember Bob was always available to me, either by telephone or in meetings. We were working on the growth management plan for Highlands County, and if Bob wasn't available to me, especially in the meetings, he has so many children, he would send one of his sons to help us. And as a result, all three of his sons have also served on the board. First Bobby, then John, and Billy. He was just a great person to work with, just a prince of a human being.
One of his proudest contributions was his service on the Florida Department of Citrus School Marketing Advisory Council, which he chaired for over 20 years during a lengthy legal battle that involved numerous trips to Tallahassee. This committee developed a nutritionist-based program that educated elementary school children on the importance of a healthy diet. This led to the inclusion of orange juice in the food service lunch programs of schools across the country. Bob is a proponent of the University of Florida Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences. He has been active with the SHARE Council, which raises money for IFAS. Since 1973, he has served on the executive board or as its chair and raised over $6 million for new buildings and programs. Bob was a longtime board member for Florida Citrus Mutual, Adams Packing Company, and the Growers Administrative Committee. He also served as chairman of the Grapefruit Quality Committee, where he said, "I never caught so much hell for free in my life." He served on the Highlands County Soil and Water Conservation District Board for over 30 years, chairing it for over 20. In addition to industry committees, Bob served his community as well and was even mayor of Avon Park.
Anytime there was a problem anywhere from Tallahassee to Washington, he was able to get to the right people and talk to them about our problems.
Big believers in education, Bob and his family have established several foundations at the University of Florida to provide scholarships for deserving students. He is the recipient of the UF Distinguished Service Award to Agriculture, was named Outstanding Agriculturist by the County Ag Agents, received the Agribusiness Institute's White Hat Award for service to his community, state, and agriculture, and the Share Award, just to name a few.
He was conscientious and loyal and trustworthy. He always told you like it was, but he was always a Southern gentleman, even though he was from Pennsylvania. He learned pretty quickly how to get along in the South, and was I'm proud to be a friend of Bob's.
Bob had a large family, and they've all done very, very well as adults. And it tells you the essential value of the decision you make when you marry a good woman. And Bob didn't do it all himself, and Jane should be receiving some of the recognition today also.
Bob is currently the president of Robert J. Barben, Inc., and even at 91 is as technologically savvy as his children and grandchildren, using a laptop in the office to keep abreast of industry developments. Bob Barben has an unswerving dedication, unselfishness, and willingness to work on behalf of the greater good for his fellow growers, spending countless hours volunteering his time and efforts, encouraging his family to do the same, and at the end of the day being happy, as he says, just to do something I love. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the first inductee of our 50th anniversary Golden Jubilee celebration, Mr. Robert J. Bob Barben.